I want to give you two numbers. 700 million. That's what a group called First Football paid for 25% of the Las Vegas Raiders back in 2007. Now 9.9 billion. That's what they sold it for this week. That's a 14x return on a NFL franchise in 19 years. And that's not even the wildest ownership story of the week. We got Drake dropping 3 albums on the same day to exit a $400 million record deal with Universal Music Group. Reports are circulating that a private equity firm has now offered $2 billion to go fully independent. And if that's real, it's the biggest individual private equity deal in the entertainment history. Meanwhile, the PGA Championship hit a $20.5 million purse this weekend, up 37% in 5 years, because Live Golf forced the sport to compete with real money. Atlanta was named the #1 sports business city in America, and the FIFA World Cup just received 500 million ticket orders, the most in any event in history. Different industries, different asset classes, same playbook, move from being the product to owning the product. This is Playbooks and Portfolios with your hosts, Sean and Liam Clifford. Let's get into it. Liam, welcome back to the pod.
How we doing?
Good.
What episode are we on? I'll ask you, actually, because you always mess it up.
Let's go with 9. I want to go with 9. I think 9 is where we're at. Maybe 9, maybe 8.
Stop counting them.
We're definitely not at 10 because I feel like the guys, the boys in the back producing this would give us a heads up if it was the famous 10th episode. I feel like we need to do something fun for it. Past 400 streams. Exciting. 400 streams. I'm excited about that. That's not too shabby.
Steady climb, man. It's the steady climb.
It is a steady climb. Appreciate all of our streamers to date. It has been a great journey so far and many more to come. Like the intro said, we have a lot to talk about, everything from sports to the music industry to then just golf and different cities. But jumping into the first segment, the Raiders deal, Silver Lake, Tom Brady, and the $9.9 billion franchise. The deal, First Football, which is the largest minority stakeholder, is selling 25% stake to a consortium led by Egon Durbin, co-CEO of Silver Lake, a $102 billion AUM tech investment firm. The valuation, $9.9 billion. Total transaction, $11 billion. Includes some sort of 10% flip tax paid to the NFL. Didn't even know that was a thing. Flip tax.
I'm not sure.
What is the flip tax, Liam?
A flip tax is an internal transfer fee charged by a housing corporation or sometimes a condominium association when a unit is sold.
Don't know 10%. That sounds a little steep. NFL. 10% is a pretty penny. But anyways, when the deal closes, Urban will own 40% of the Lakers. Mark Davis retains controlling ownership at 36%. I mean, this is really exciting. It's always cool to see NFL teams getting moved around and honestly franchises getting moved around in general. What do you think about this transaction specifically? This group is behind Bay Collective. They're behind Endeavor. When the world's largest tech private equity firm comes in the world and builds a dedicated sports portfolio, you're definitely going to see that as a thesis moving forward, and sports becoming more and more apparent. Large deal. What's your take?
Yeah. I mean, the thing that jumps to mind right away is Tom Brady's involvement with the Raiders and kind of everything he's done there since he phased out of the NFL. I mean, Tom Brady bought 10% in 2024 at a $3.5 billion valuation, now making his stake worth roughly $999 million at a $9.9 billion valuation, which is 2.8x on paper in returns in the last 18 months. So I think that's a testament to him getting involved. Now, he's not the only one, obviously. I think there's a lot of players in the space, and the Raiders organization is continuing to grow. And obviously Silver Lake is seeing that and wanting to get involved, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention Tom Brady being a big player there and getting involved and helping the franchise grow ever since kind of he phased out. And it's just interesting. It's interesting to see his returns that he's getting and kind of reaping the benefits already from it. We'll see what happens. What are your thoughts on a tech investment firm specifically coming in and getting involved here, and why do you think they'd want to get involved with a NFL football organization?
I think it's the same telltale story that we said, I think, a few episodes ago, right? You have a private equity firm. They have numerous assets under management. To be exact, what it was at 102 billion assets under management. You're always looking to grow that piece of the pie. What better way than actually owning a team in the biggest league possible? I think that they're smart. I think that It's interesting because I've always thought that at this point, the NFL, until they truly go global, and if that's the bet, that's the bet, and I think that's a good bet. But until the NFL goes truly global, I think that these assets are getting a little bit overvalued. Might be I might be in trouble for saying that, but I do believe that they're a little bit overvalued. I think that they continue, like they're just selling at such high multiples. It's like, how, when does this train stop? I do think, though, my personal take is, if I had the money or the power to buy an NFL team, I think it's the safest bet you can make, right? The teams aren't going anywhere.
I was literally just going to ask you that. Do you feel like investing in sports in this way, where you're investing in these super high valuations in teams and leagues and organizations? I mean, this firm they now have NFL ownership, emerging leagues. They've invested in some women's football, combat sports. The list goes on and on and on. Do you feel like these large firms that handle $102 billion in AUM are investing in these sports assets just because it's one of the safest things out there to invest in currently? Because you said with COVID, it just doesn't go anywhere.
I think so. And I think that when you're dealing with that much money, and specifically that many assets, and I'm assuming their investor base is pretty substantial. I don't know the Silver Lake investor base. I don't know if that's public information anyways, but I'd have to imagine it's some pretty large checked individuals, and they're going to be looking for, when you're investing in a firm like this in the private markets, they're looking for their money to be taken care of, right? To steward it in the right direction. It's the Las Vegas Raiders, right? In one of the hottest cities in the world, with a team that is getting better and the stadium. I've been to Vegas. We played there, I want to say, my first year in the league, and it's literally like a club. Like, I mean, it is insane. There you have a DJ up at the very top, and he's going the whole time, and it's a fun environment to play in. I think you even played on a Thursday night or a Sunday night game, so it was bopping. Similar to Los Angeles, though, like the Rams, the mixed bag. It was more Packers fans than Raiders fans. More so than any. Not as bad as LA. LA is terrible. Like, LA is terrible when it comes to who's going to the games, because, well, if you know this, Stafford is on silent count the entire game, home or away.
Really?
They're only on the leg. Yeah. So for all of our football fans, when I say the leg, it's the silent, and then the center kind of throws the hand and you get this play started. They're doing that both home and away. That just goes to show you that who's coming. I think it's because it's a bucket list for a lot of fans, right? You want to go to that city, you want to go to LA, you want to go to Las Vegas, and it's an excuse. So you see a ton of fans coming to those different venues, and it's kind of tough for the home team because they have to bear the consequences of having those teams come to play, especially a team like the Green Bay Packers, who travel so well.
Yeah. Well, I noticed it even in college when we played at USC, and actually our game was pretty packed. I think it was because it was new, and Penn State playing in California against USC was a big to do at the time. But you do see it a lot, specifically now Vegas. I don't know because I've never been there or two played there, but in LA, it's like there's just so many other things for people to do and to be focused on, and go to concerts or be on Beverly Hills, all these different things you can do rather than going to a game. And I think we see that a lot there, and maybe that's what we're seeing in Vegas, like you're alluding to. But Vegas is growing. The stadium's sick. Like what you mentioned, it's almost like a club. I actually think they have a club in their stadium, I'm pretty sure. It's like,
them in Miami. Miami does too.
Which is nuts. But I was going to say, just another example of a way that sports is trying to create this ecosystem where fans are engaging in the game, not just with the game, but then staying around after the game, spending more money at their stadium, making it more of a fan experience overall. Vegas is another perfect example of that. Go ahead.
Yeah, and when you talked about Silver Lake, I know that we led with Tech, looking at their whole portfolio. You have now the Raiders, pending approval, 40% ownership stake. You have NFL Flag Football League, investors alongside Sixth Street, Arctos, and Ariel. Bay Collective, which is Sixth Street's multi-club women's football platform, which owns Bay FC and Sunderland Women. And then they also have some previous sports investments in City Football Group, which is Man City's parent, Endeavor, and WME, which is UFC, PBR, Miss Universe. They're stocking up a pretty heavy sports ecosystem play. One for our podcast, our firm, to look at even further and just continue to model. But when you play with big boy capital, you have to make big boy deals, and this is definitely one of them. Speaking of big boy deals, into segment 2, a little bit different than what we typically talk about, but it's media, and I think that it's worth the conversation. But Drake's $2 billion power move, the ownership stack goes extremely platinum. Drake just executed the most aggressive ownership play in music history, and the ownership stack framework from episode 5, I want to say, it was a little bit ago, right? It's playing out in real time. Very interesting. So on Friday, May 15th, Drake drops 3 albums simultaneously. Liam, your take on the 3?
Yeah, this is a little bit of a different vibe here that we're gonna go after, but this is exciting. I'm excited to talk about this. I'm a big Drake guy. Always have liked Drake. Now I listened to the Iceman album. I really haven't listened to the other ones. I thought it was good. I thought it was your typical Drake album. It wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't bad. It's one of those. I'm in the gym. I was in the gym today. I just throw it on, just let it roll.
Yeah.
But it was good. But with that being said, now this is all speculation. This isn't for sure. Like, we don't know that it's a private equity group is paying him $2 billion to
Speculation.
But if he does do this, I mean, what a business move by the guy. Drake has always been known to be a businessman. Like, I feel
He's
like
a mogul.
in the music industry, he's always been very business oriented. He knows how to stick with the times. That's why he's Drake. But when looking at it, this could be really revolutionary in terms of the fact that it seems like, from what people are saying and speculating, he had 3 albums left that he needed to drop before his record label was done with UMG, which is Universal Music Group, which he signed back in 2022, dropping then 3 albums right away on Friday, all 3 knocking that out, and then flipping that into becoming the highest paid musician of all time is what people are saying he's looking to do, which is also interesting, and I'm no conspiracy theorist here, but the album, and Iceman specifically, was kind of all centered around Michael Jackson, and the glove was the album cover and all this stuff, and I know he was talking about like wanting to surpass Michael Jackson as the greatest musician of all time and the highest paid musician of all time. And in doing that, a $2 billion private equity offer would probably get that done, if I had to imagine.
Sure.
So we'll see what happens. We'll see where this goes. I don't know if this kind of changes the music landscape going forward. Do record labels get really nervous now when it comes to private equity? And is private equity going to take over another industry? We'll see. Drake could be on the forefront of that. And if anybody's going to do it, it would be Drake.
Well, I mean, I think that we get on the show every single week and there's another private equity deal happening. Private equity is a group that I know there's mixed feelings about private equity. For all my PE people out there, I'm sure that I'm not probably preaching to the choir with this one, but PE gets a bad rap sometimes. I even see like the memes of that one guy that always gets on. He's talking about private equity and kind of using like the funny face and like the funny voice and everything. But it's definitely popping up into numerous different areas. More than anything, though, I see this as like the ownership stack that we've talked about, right? Athletes are going through it similarly. LeBron, Maverick, their ownership stack, how they've kind of played. Tom Brady, we just spoke about, now getting into the ownership table with the Raiders and continuing his journey as a businessman post-career. A lot of people are doing it in career, post-career. We're doing it ourselves, right? But you see it as kind of a 4-level prong, right? Level 1, endorser. Level 2, investor. Level 3, an operator. And then level 4, you're a true platform builder. Drake did it in that same order, right? With his Young Money, Cash Money, artist kind of deal early often. That would be kind of the endorser. Then he moved up, made investments through Dream Crew, Raptors Global Ambassador, Stake.com, right? Then he goes to level 3, the OVO sound label, and then kind of producing from there. And now jumping into this monumental, potentially speculative, monumental deal that would be a great story. It really, truly would be a great story. It'd be a fun one to talk about in the future. But you see it not only with musicians. We talked about kind of Taylor Swift re-recording her masters a few episodes ago as well. You're seeing it with athletes, tying it back to why we're on the show with Playbooks and Portfolios. You're seeing athletes come to the table and looking for that same ownership stack. And I actually saw a comment on, and I want to hit on this. I saw a comment on one of the episodes that we dropped. This is early, but somebody said athletes are just all these athletes want to do is they just want more money. Someone was kind of coming at the whole fact of like, oh, now they want ownership. You know, it's just typical athletes. I think that you're looking at through the wrong lens. Athletes want ownership, and same way with Drake wanting ownership here, because they've climbed the ladder. They've become the best in the business, and now they want to make that next jump because they know what's good for what's the asset as a whole, right? And that's what I believe. Like if I'm looking at it as, Tom Brady getting on the cap table of the Las Vegas Raiders, Yeah, I want that guy in my building because he's won 7 Super Bowls, right? 7. I don't want to misquote the GOAT. 7 Super Bowls, I believe, right? He has tons of records. He's one of the best, if not the greatest of all time. Athletes, definitely quarterbacks in the NFL. And now he wants to jump into this lane. I think that he's a great steward of the business. I think he's a great steward of football. And I think that he'd be great to have in a building. That's why people are jumping into these stakes, because they know that they can add that value. And that's what it ultimately comes down to. How do you add value to the asset?
And really quickly, Tom Brady's the GOAT. I don't think
For sure.
right? I don't think that's crazy for me to say, right? He's the greatest football player of all time. Yeah, okay. I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Tom, I'll give him the credit there. 100%. Best NFL player in the history. That's why he's on the GOAT roast. Anyways, did you watch the GOAT roast with Kevin Hart?
Dude, I saw some clips from it.
Funny.
Talk about controversial. I've seen some crazy things pop up on my timeline.
Wild. There, yeah. But that's for a different podcast.
You don't get into the music industry. That's not our segment.
Yeah, I mean, we just did with Drake. But anyways, third segment, a little bit more fun. The best sports cities in America.
Here we go.
And we'll talk about where Cincinnati fits. Top 5. This is ranked by SBJ, Sports Business Journal. So don't hate the player, hate the game. This is from SBJ. Number 1, Atlanta, driven obviously by Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Arthur Blank's ownership ecosystem, FIFA World Cup coming their way, blue chip corporate sponsors, all those different groups. Second, New York. Surprised by that. I mean, really? I would think that New York City is the greatest city when it comes to sports. Let me finish the list though, because the third one is what kind of jumped out to me. Indianapolis being ranked as number 3, jumped 8 spots. Yeah, jumped up 8 spots from number 11 in 2023, hosting the NBA All-Star 2024, Olympic Summer Trials, Swimming Trials, WWE Royal Rumble. You got the WNBA All-Star Game, 2026 NCAA Final Four. They are definitely, like, they're capitalizing on the biggest events. Then you have number 4, LA, and number 5, Minneapolis. They evaluated 2,300, a little over 2,300 markets. They tracked 9,409 unique sports entities, 520 construction projects, 1,000 plus naming rights, and they got to this stat. Cincinnati not in there. Cincinnati hosting FIFA World Cup, though. That's pretty cool. Just learned that quite literally today. But Liam, how do you feel about the top 5? Do you agree, disagree? At first, I was like, Indianapolis was a shocking one to me, but
I'll read you this. Indianapolis set out, they have the year 2050 vision to become their vision. It's stated on the IndianapolisSportsCorporation.com. Their vision is to make Indiana the global epicenter of sports. Their mission is to unleash Indiana's potential through sports.
Wow.
Yeah. And they have a bunch of pillars, and I mean, we can go on the whole tangent with this, but I would also agree, shocking, to say the least. Now, they host the Big Ten Championship. They have, the Final Four every year, I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah, Final Four every year.
Mm-hmm. Final Four?
Obviously. It's a growing city now. Putting them at, what are they at, 3?
3.
I don't know. I mean,
good for them, though. That's
WWE
big.
Royal Rumble. I think Pat McAfee probably plays a little bit of a role in that. The guy's top of the top in sports right now. He's always shouting out Indy and doing things there.
Tyler Warren is driving that through and through.
Driving Indianapolis to be number 3 on the list. Shout out
friend of the pod.
But we'll see what the 2050 vision, how that comes along. I mean, we'll regroup it in 2050 when we're still running the podcast and see if Indianapolis can become the epicenter of sports. That'd be pretty cool. That'd be a full circle moment.
I feel like that's a conversation we need to have with some councilmen over there of what they're trying to accomplish and how we can support them in that journey. If you are listening and you're sitting on this board for this 2050 vision strategic plan for sports tech and women's sports growth in Indy, call us up. But I like the list. I was surprised, but not surprised Miami did not make the cut here.
Well, they have what? Oh, they got a couple teams. I don't know.
They have all the major sports.
Have you ever played in the Dolphins Stadium, by the way?
We played there last year. Yes.
Sick, right?
Sick, and also they have, like, in the very top left, or I guess facing away was the top right, they had this club running the whole time, and it's pretty loud, actually.
Really?
Like, when it was kind of silent, you could hear the club going. It was great because it was a nice break. It was like late December, maybe even early January. I think it was late December, though. So coming from Cincinnati to then going to Miami for a 2-day trip, I was very happy. I got a little bit of a tan on. I was excited about that. Was flexing a cutoff shirt on the sideline.
No.
Tried.
And then New York being at 2 behind Atlanta. That one's interesting. That one I don't think I agree with. New York is different though because Giants and Jets are both in New Jersey. So are they counting? Like, how does that work?
That's a good point. I have no idea. I mean, it's in their name, so I'd say that they're New York teams, but
Right.
who knows?
Atlanta's an interesting one. I've played. You weren't on the team. I played in the Falcons Stadium, sick, really cool stadium. And then I think I mentioned it a couple episodes ago, but they are building this really cool ecosystem and like infrastructure around the stadium to help amplify the whole kind of game day experience and even like game day weekend experience, having hotels and all these things. But beyond that, I don't know. I think New York should be above them, but that's just me.
Well, let me hear it. Anybody who has their comments, if their city wasn't represented, let's hear the debate. Why should your city be in the top sports cities in America? Would love to hear it. Jumping into segment 4, golf's money boom. PGA Championship hits $20.5 million. Huge purse jump for them. 37% increase in the last 5 years. And just globally, nationally, specifically in the United States, golf has completely found its boom. I wouldn't say it's peaked yet in any way, shape, or form, but it is climbing. It is climbing fast. I'd like to switch it away from just the golf tournament, Liam, or golf tournaments and the PGA itself. Golf as a whole. You see all the deal flow. You're seeing a ton of different companies pop up. What's your take on how people are attacking golf? Like, what are the types of companies that you're seeing pop up? I think that would be a very interesting thing for the viewers to hear. But golf is definitely getting its shining moment, for sure.
For sure, 100%. The PGA Championship was awesome this weekend. I actually didn't get to watch a ton of it, but we won't spend time on that. The golf in general is growing tremendously. I mentioned it a couple of days ago. I think there's a bunch of things we could talk about here, but the thing that interests me, I'll hit this first. I said it a couple episodes ago. Whenever I go up to TPC, the course here, and hit balls like later at night, it's literally like always younger kids. And I think you mentioned like we'll see how much golf continues to grow. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. Like I think 10, 15, 20 years from now, there's going to be more and more younger kids are getting into golf at an early age. And that's going to show as golf progresses here and continues to grow. And then beyond that, you mentioned companies. I've seen tons of companies in the golf space. And specifically, they're always centered around kind of the golf experience when you play just for fun. And what I mean by that is for all the golfers out there, everyone knows you go play, you're playing with your friends. One, you got to call, schedule the tee time, get that done. That's pretty simple, but for the back office of like the actual pro shops, that's tough. Like they're on the phone all day long and it's actually a lot harder than people think. And that can all be automated through AI. And I think it will be automated through AI pretty soon. There's some companies that I've met with that are doing that. And that's just kind of the back end side. For the golf player's experience, when you go to golf, as soon as you start playing, you pull up whatever app it is, 18 birdies, Grints, the list goes on and on. There's like tons of
Blue tees,
yeah. And you use that to track your score. You use it to invite friends to have your scorecard all in one. You use that to do the GPS tracking of the hole to see where you're hitting, all that stuff. But it's always segmented where one app you use for this, then another app you have to use to book the tee times. And it's always kind of like segmented into these different things. The companies that I'm seeing now are trying to combine everything you do when you golf into one. So from the moment you decide you want to go golfing, you're going to book a tee time. That'll be all in one specific platform or app. Then when you get to the course, you can use the GPS on that specific app. And then even beyond that, there's a couple of companies I've been speaking with that when you play golf, a lot of people gamble. And when you're playing and you're trying to keep track of, okay, however you're playing, like if you're playing certain money for a hole or at the end when you go to pay people out, that can all also be integrated into an app as well where it'll track it for you. And then at the end, rather than sending a Venmo or being like, wait, what do you owe me? It can just be, you press a button and it'll be sent directly through that app to the people and players as well. And then it even goes beyond that of, okay, how do I get involved in local tournaments and stuff? And having that in an app where you're able to sign up for tournaments, sign up for, like, if you're in, say you go to Arizona for a business trip and you're like, hey, I want to play golf today, going on an app and being able to see what courses are available and being able to book a tee time instantly rather than having to search yourself, call, figure out what's available and what's open. There's a lot that goes into the sport. And honestly, I didn't even realize it until I started to meet with some of these companies and they were telling me the problems they're trying to solve. And there's a big opportunity for somebody to come in and become kind of the go-to app platform. I think of 18 Birdies. Like a lot of people use 18 Birdies, but it's for a specific niche. It's a specific thing, which is like in my eyes, when I think of it, I think of tracking your handicap, putting your score in, and then the GPS, and that's it. But if you're able to also create an app that is for booking and helping the pro shops and then But getting in tournaments or booking a golf trip and like as a whole, like everything you want to do from the golf experience, that app will win big. Especially because what we started this conversation off with is the fact that golf is growing and it's growing at a very fast rate.
Yeah, I think that it comes back to, I heard this from, I wish I could give the person their kudos because it wasn't my quote, but they said, what other experience can you have with somebody where you get 4 hours of undivided attention with them? That is so important. And specifically, as entrepreneurship continues to see rises, I cannot wait to see what stats and data come out on the amount of solo entrepreneurs or just entrepreneurs in general who are going away. The wave is on, and it's been on for, I would say, the last couple of years, but just especially with AI, everybody is going on their own and trying to do different things, whether that be e-commerce, whether that be as simple as just opening up a shop, selling services, whatever it might be. Lots of people are going solo, and I think that as that continues, that train continues, and people are trying to understand this crazy world of AI and, okay, jobs are starting to decline, so you have to go on your own, figure it out yourself, and create ownership. It's the toughest thing to do to make deals happen is get time with people, but golf is the one thing that you can ask pretty much everybody. Now, they're like myself, I'm not that good, but being able to get out, like you could ask me, if it was a squeezing a 30-minute meeting in, or, hey, do you want to rip a really nice course for 4 hours on a Saturday? You're probably going to get me for the 4 hours, and I'm going to be pretty happy about it, and I'm probably going to be in a good deal-making mood. So I think it's the whole concept of golf. I think it's the direction that it goes. I think it's just the pedigree of the game, being able to go out there and really focus. Like Liam, you and I go out there, and we like to call it golf talk, have the golf talk. Real good conversations throughout each of the putts and the chips and just talking through different situations.
Because
it's fun.
Golf is such a cool sport, and I didn't appreciate it when I was younger. Like I've gotten
Never
now, but like you mentioned the business side of it, and that's all great, and it's one of the biggest parts of what makes the game. But beyond that, and I think I've heard Nick Saban talk about this in an interview or something, but golf is like the perfect correlation to life. And like you hit a bad shot and then you have to flush it and then be able to move on and hit a good shot. And if you don't, it'll snowball. And we've all been there if you play. But it's just such a cool sport, man. I could talk about golf for a while, but it is growing. It's growing fast. More and more people are getting involved. The business world is involved and has been involved. We'll see kind of how this younger generation continues to grow in it and continue to get better. Because, man, I see these kids out there on the range striping the ball. And I feel bad about myself and how my play is, but we'll see.
Well, hopefully you can work on that golf game. In the summer, though, is a perfect time to work on that golf game. Also in the summer is the FIFA World Cup. Last segment of the pod. The biggest sporting event in history. FIFA received 500 million ticket orders, the most for any event in history per FIFA president Infantino. 48 teams, expanded from 32, 104 matches, 16 host cities across 3 countries. Cincinnati is a host city, which is awesome. I will definitely be there. I'm sure you will too, Liam. It is in the downtime during the summer. I'm sure we will have to hit up all of our friends and get some nice tickets. But very cool across the board. It says MLS dropped its Apple TV paywall for all 510 games to build audience ahead of the World Cup, trying to use that momentum. Do you feel any type of way, Liam? I mean, is this like a new revival for soccer as a whole in the United States? Do you think this is an opportunity to get kids all excited about soccer and potentially growing that pool as well? I know the MLS, they have a pretty big bargaining chip here coming up. I can't quote the exact time of when their TV deal is coming down the pipe, but they're going to want to see some increased viewership, and you have the biggest event in the world coming to the United States. Very cool, really excited. I know a lot of people that are also like, they're making it a travel list where they're going to pretty much follow the different games and go from city to city. I've heard numerous people talking about that being a kind of a road trip in the summer. Could be fun. Wish I had the time to do that. Definitely do not. But if I did, I would. What's your take on FIFA coming to the US?
Yeah, it's cool. It's exciting. I just looked it up. So the last time the United States hosted the FIFA Cup was in 1994. And I think, yeah, crazy. I mean, to hit it, like to answer your question, it's coming to the United States for the same reason the NFL is going into other countries and trying to push and promote there as well. Like, I think soccer in general is it's the biggest sport in the world still, correct? I think that's right. I want to say.
It has to be.
Right? But I mean, we both live in the United States. Like, it's big. People are into it, but it's not how it doesn't feel like how MLB and NFL and like some of these other sports feel, at least for the most part. And I think obviously bringing the cup to the United States is going to change that for the exact kind of sample or exact reason you just said of people like planning these trips to go to every stadium and see all the different, like when Cristiano Ronaldo comes to the United States, people are going to go from, it doesn't matter what state it's in, people are going to fly to go see it. Messi was just in Cincinnati playing FC Cincinnati.
I know.
It was probably, I think,
had a hat trick.
They had a sold out crowd though, full crowd.
Yeah.
For that reason. It's like these figures in soccer, some of the greatest sports figures of all time, especially right now, currently, two of them we just named, bring a crowd. And it's going to be cool to see what happens with soccer after it kind of flows through the United States with the FIFA World Cup this year. I'll definitely try to get to a game, no doubt.
Did you see Neymar was actually up for potentially coming to FC Cincinnati? That was a leaked deal on the old Twitter sphere, X sphere. Would be really cool. But yeah, I think that soccer is a growing sport, always has, always will be. I think that it's a sport that touches every piece of this planet, and it's cool that it's coming to the States. I will definitely be at one of these games, if not more. And I think that it's a great opportunity. But this is, I mean, we're 7, 8, 9. I have no idea how many episodes in. But thanks for listening. I do this wrong every single time, so I'm just going to try it one more time. Please subscribe, share, comment, post. I don't know all the things you could do on social media, but do them and help us grow this page, because we are absolutely, Liam and I get to catch up a couple times throughout the week, and we talk business, we talk life, but this is the one time where we get to get on, and we're really excited about being able to put this content out there. We have all of our links and all of our stuff plastered all over our social media. So please support the channel. We're going to be going to YouTube too. So subscribe. I will be saying subscribe one of these days once we get the YouTube up. We just launched TikTok today, so that we got that going for us. But we're going to be trying to go as many different places as we possibly can. So please support the journey. But from playing the game to owning a piece of it, this is Sean and Liam Clifford as your co-hosts. See you next week. Playbooks and Portfolios out.